Welcome back. So let's continue now with the opening source that's found in Shir HaShirim, page 15 in the source book that you could download in the description. This is the second verse in the entire Shir HaShirim, and we'll get a taste now and appreciate a verse of this cryptic text, and then the Targoom of this cryptic text, meaning the meaning of this cryptic text that reveals what the speaker is saying, who is even speaking, and everything like that. So here we go. The verse begins, Yishakeni mineshikoth pihu, ki tovim dodecha miyai. It's a prayer, like as if we'll translate literally, and then we'll see the Targum and the meaning of these cryptic words. May he kiss me with the kisses of a husband and wife, as the Vilna Gaon explains, and we'll explain that in depth. Ki tovim dodecha miyain, because better is your love and your closeness miyain, from all the wine, or all the finest wines, all the pleasure intoxicating things in the world. So who is speaking and what are we talking about? So the Targum is, as Rav Yosseph, Sagi Nahor, Rav Yosseph, too much light is the sage that is attributed with the Targum of Ketuvim. Thank Hashem, the infinite being forever and ever, that sent us, Rav Yosseph, Sagi Nahor, for over 1700 years ago around, who was transmitting the Targum, the meaning of the most cryptic section of Tanakh, and that's why his name, Sagi Nahor, too much light in Aramaic, meaning that the too much light is in the Targum of Ketuvim, Baruch Hashem. This is what is the most amazing thing that we can behold at this point in time. And it just leads to so many more amazing places. So let's see Rav Yosseph Sagi Nahor leading us through this cryptic words. So it says, first of all, Amar Shlomo Neviah, said Shlomo the prophet. So Shlomo, the wisest, richest, most outstanding individual in history, one of them, literally at his time, like the richest, the most powerful, the wisest. Firstly, obviously, Hashem gave him all the gifts because he only really wanted the wisdom to be able to guide the nation and guide the world. Shlomo, then God's like, wow, you're normally kings would ask for power, money, this, but you're asking for the real wisdom and understanding, and then the full knowledge to know how to act in the world and how to help people in the world for real. And so says Shlomo the prophet himself, Berich Shmeh da Hashem, blessed is the name and reputation. The name, like the name is known in the land, it's the reputation of God. But blessed is the name and reputation, the Torahs of the infinite God, the giver of the Torahs. Blessed is Hashem, the infinite being, the giver of the Torahs. Di Havlan, who let us have. That's where the English word have comes from. Yehav is to give it so that they have it. Di Havlan, who gave to us. Oraitha, the Torah, which has the word or in it, and then has a tav in it, which is the symbol of truth and emet, because it stands on two legs, as the kids teach. But oraita is the light of truth, the light in the illumination, and Shlomo says the benefit of the light is like a torch and lantern and fire in the darkness, where, the benefit of that's wisdom, the wisdom of Torah. So, who gave us the Torah al yedoi de Moshe Safra Rabba, by the hands of Moshe, the great scribe, the first scribe. Well, the scribe who scribed the Torah. There was previous scribes, of course, but Moshe Safra Rabba, the great scribe, who scribed the entire Torah and revealed it. You see, many people think that Hashem gave Moshe 2 stone tablets that look very thin and just like rocks, and they're rounded off at the top. That's actually not at all biblically accurate, as Rav Moshe Shapir Zatzal explains. It's just been made popular by pop culture, but the real luchot were a sapphire stone, but a sapphire cube, a perfect cube, that also captured the voice of the infinite being reverberating, and it etched into the stone. The whole thing was miraculous. and whatever that word in English in the root of it, but everything was an amazing miracle, an open miracle before people. So that's what is the next line. That's why it's in blue and sapphire here, that Hashem, the great scribe who gave us the Torah, Ktiva al Trein Luchei Avnaya, the essence of the entire Torah is the Ten Commandments. That's the essence, and really the Ten Commandments allude to all the other mitzvot and ways and acts of God. It's like the 10 is always like the general grouping. And then the entire Torah is based off of those 10. Just like the Aleph-Bet is all the Torah into these 22 bite-sized pieces. But here, the entire system of Torah and all the rules and how God acts and what God cares about is essentially broken down in the 10 sayings or utterances. It's not even 10 commandments, really. It was the Aseret HaDibrot. It's like just showing you how much is lost in translation, and just everyone repeats the wrong translation, and that's how everyone knows it as. So we have to always come back and be so careful with the words and understand exactly, how it's translated. So it's Ktiva al Trei Luchei Avnaya, Trei Luchot Avanim, on the two, and train, like maybe the English word train, which is at least two carts together. Train is two, anyway. Luchei Avnaya, or the Luchot, the sapphire cube. Avanim is the stone. So the tablets of stone. But again, the tablet was a sapphire cube from the throne of the infinite God, which is said to be of sapphire, whatever this means, and whatever this means. That's all we could say. This is what's transmitted. But obviously, we as we mentioned, we begin with the Aleph-Bet. We don't just start to accept hocus pocus. I mean, you could trust me and accept what I'm saying, but obviously, the proof of the infinite being, firstly, is the Aleph-Bet, and we're getting to that in a second. But this was the Sinai experience, that it was Hashem gave us these luchot, not only that, and not only the Torah itself, but v'shita sidrei Mishnah, the 6 orders of the Mishnah already, the essential part of what the Mishnah was, if not just word for word, how it was then codified years later. And that's really the way every single time with the Torah Sheba'al Peh. It was transmitted from teacher to student, but when the sages of that generation saw that things were getting difficult and they wanted to help people learn, then they started to begin to write the Torah Sheba'al Peh, which was not really allowed to be done. But in our generation now, we have almost the entire spoken Torah written down as well. So really the written Torah is only referring to Tanakh. The spoken Torah is referring to the Torah that was only spoken, but today the spoken Torah is also written down to ensure that it would never be forgotten. And it's very important that we all check manuscripts and restore all the censorships that went on, and as much as we can come back to the most ancient versions and bring all of the different versions together so that we could see and understand and nuance everything. Bezrat Hashem. And check the digital libraries. Maybe we could leave some links in the comments or something. Okay, but we got the 6 orders of the Mishnah, and not only that, but V'Talmuda Begirsa, the Talmud itself was given in its version, in its proper version, as we have it. That's the Talmud, because really what the Talmud begins and opens, it's a conversation between a wise, all-knowing, brilliant master and a student who simply wants to understand everything and asks the question, and that's the Talmud, which means the active learning process. T.M.E.S.F.E.B means go learn. Talmud is the active learning, and the learning is together, face to face. Master, teacher, brilliant student, 2 friends learning together also is a good level, as we discussed by Aleph, the symbol Aleph in the 22 Keys to Life video. And we'll have more. But the Talmudah Begirsa, the Talmud was given in its version, and the active learning process where the students are the ones to ask the questions and the teachers are answering the questions. And that's really the true way for education to work, that the kids are the ones asking the questions, and you could ask whatever you want, and that's the most important thing. So let's just also recap Mishnah. This word Mishnah is from the word shonen, shinun. These are sharpened teachings that are meant to be gone over many, 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 many times until it's sharp as anything. So it's effortless to just recall anything that you want now. Okay, and that is the essence of sharpening, because when you sharpen a knife, if you go over it once, it looks like you didn't even do anything. If you go over it twice, it still may look like you never even did anything. Even the third time, fourth. It's only once you start going over it several times do the things start to get sharper and sharper. And now every time you go over it, it sharpens it and gets even more sharper. So that's Mishnah for Meshaneh, which means to go over and to sharpen, from the root shin, which literally means a tooth that's sharp. And in Ketav Ivri, it's two sets of teeth, like Dracula, two fangs, kind of. That's shin, or a W. That's where that shape comes from. And shen is sharp and a tooth, and it has to do with sharpness. And as we said, to sharpen the sword, it's to go over it many times. So it's, again, not at all, therefore, not at all a game of broken telephone, where you don't even care if the person even hears you or not, and you just say it once and you never repeat it, and that's it. That's not how it all Torah works. It was all gone over in the class, repeated with everyone together, and until everyone understood it and until everyone got it, and then they would move forward together. That's how it was done. So with the 6 orders of the Mishnah, these sharpened teachings, which the Mishnah is the launch pad to the entire system of Torah Sheba'al-Peh, meaning what Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi did when he transmitted the Mishnah, he coded all of the topics that could ever arise in these sort of conversation starters, in these cryptic, terse bits of information that the sages then nuance on even every symbol that is transmitted, every word that Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi in his court codified. They went over and scanned every single thing, because it's nuanced just like the written Torah is. Every single symbol is copied from a previous kosher Torah scroll, meaning it's copied over. It has to look exactly, if one symbol's extra, if one symbol, all the rules ensuring that this is the exact Torah that we have it as was given. And it's truly an amazing thing. Around the entire world, the Torah is the same. If someone's going to say that it's not, what they're referring to is only extra vowel placements that do not change the meaning of the word. And there's only, from what I understand, 36. That's what Shalom. So there's only 36 of those differences. And again, the meaning is not changed, but that's just a nusach that hopefully with Eliyahu Hanavi we'll be able to realize and recognize. Okay? And so, not only that, the Talmud was given in its order, but V'hava mitmalel iman apin be'apin, that Hashem and Moshe was speaking face to face with the whole nation. Hashem before the nation with Moshe, and then Moshe face to face with the entire nation as well. But again, a big part is that Hashem spoke directly to the nation at a point. Then the certain group of the nation began to fear, and then went to Moshe and said, maybe you speak to us, maybe Hashem speaks to you, and then you could speak to us, because we can't handle this divine revelation. Literally, the sages transmit they died. Every time God spoke, their souls left their body, God revived them, they woke up, and, how many times can a person handle that? So it's not necessarily to blame, obviously. Has v'shalom. So, but just saying how intense it was, but God was speaking face to face and guiding people face to face. When you gift someone something, and then when you look at it, you could ask whatever you want. You're speaking to the person, or to the being, you could say whatever you want, and whatever it is. And so it was face to face. Kigvar dinashik, dinashek, where the word cheek comes from. Nashek is to kiss. That like a man kisses his. Well, here havre is referring to in the feminine, to his partner, his real friend in the world, his chibur, the one who's connected with his other half, means segiut chibta, from the greatness of the love that they have for one another. Or if it's referring to the kiss of a brother to a brother or something like that, on the cheek, from the great love that the brothers have for one another. Dechabiv lan yatir, that God that God was favored to us, that we loved God more than anything that any of the 70 nations and anything anyone in this world can offer us, is that we loved God more than anything. We loved Hashem's Torahs more than anything. And anyone who's already tasted what the Aleph Bet are and the depth of the symbols and the depth of the Torah, therefore, given with these symbols. And so because we chose God, then God chose the people. That's how it works. It's God is reciprocal, in according to what we do and what you choose to do. And then God would respond and allows you to work. Obviously, God cares and is going to try to steer us in the right direction because our parents care. That's really the analogy or the metaphor that the Hashem is our infinite parents, and we're speaking obviously about the good situation. Good, the parents love us before we're even born and love us every second since, and they didn't need to have us; they wanted to have us. It's they're trying to destroy such concepts, maybe Chas v'Shalom, but nothing's new. In Egypt already, they wanted to depopulate the people, and Megillat Esther, they wanted to sterilize and just annihilate the whole nation again. Nothing is new, and the point is that when we learn it from the Torah, when we come back to Hashem, we don't need horror stories, metaphors, to learn things physically the hard way, through pain, through suffering. We're receiving godly wisdom, and I know many people have made this concept a joke in the world, but obviously we're speaking about the real deal. We're speaking about the things that you could verify, which is again the Aleph Bet. So we'll see all of that. So this verse right now, where did we even start and how did we even end up? So what does it mean? Kiss me from the kisses of like a husband and wife. Because this is the word peh. Peh is a mouth, right? And when it has the symbol hey added, it would be feminine. Piha means her mouth. But if it didn't have the hey and it was just written with a vav, so it would be piu. Piu. If you pronounce it like the Yemenites, which is funny to hear maybe. But basically, piha and piu together in one word, feminine and masculine, that's why the Vilna Gaon says like the kisses of a husband and wife. Okay? And so this is also representing the two Torahs, which is masculine, feminine, or feminine and really, and then masculine. Okay? Because as we said, we have a Torah that's scribed and that's visual, which is masculine, because the guys are more visual, advertising and whatever. Chas v'Shalom, but women, they're much more audio. This was already revealed in other things, but this is the wisdom that the sages transmit for a while. So people are like, I already know that. The thing is great, but that's wonderful, but let's understand that the sages are transmitting thousands of year old wisdom that they already had. And so like they were wiser than us. And this kind of concept needs to be dealt with at length. Beyond the scope of this video, but see Professor Gerald Schroeder, Shalita. Okay, and so that is the kiss is face to face. When you're kissing, you're face to face, and you're experiencing unity and beauty and love, and that's exactly what the Torah really is supposed to be. The real Aleph Bet, what they fill a person with, they radiate God's wisdom and beauty. These are divine alien symbols. These are not man-made scribbles to represent little sounds. These are, as we said, stones that build the entire universe, the building blocks. They're the pictures, they're numbers, they're sounds with stories and messages and teachings and everything. And all of that wisdom is included and built into the same amount of physical space as you would write any other script, but so much more is built into these symbols, which is just, you get so much more at the same time, in the same space, on the same page. That's why it's just people who study Hebrew really could be rising to incredible levels that would shock them even. And that's why it's so important. And the mission, that our goal is really to all come back to that original, to the original Aleph Bet, to the original sounds of how God speaks, what is the language of reality, how it just makes sense, and how it's just truly an amazing experience, because it's an experience and not simply, again, it's not text to read, which is unfortunately the only thing that remains in a translation is a story. And as we said, okay. And so that was the opening verse, because Tovim Dodecha, your love, your wisdom, the things that you give us. Also, there is a concept, but again, for mature audiences, but like a baby nurses from the mother and gets all of what it needs. So it also means like good is the things that you could nurse and give your children, give the nation, give the world, as is speaking about Hashem, because Hashem is one, male and female, our infinite parents. Okay, and so the feminine aspect is to be able to also give and to nurture and to give in the highest level till the point that they don't even need the giving anymore. That is the level of the mother. So it's very interesting in this delicate balance of the concept of what it means masculine and what it means feminine, and all these things are so important, and that's why it's so confused in the world, because English neutered the language, as we said, and even kids in Hebrew know the difference between what's masculine and what's feminine, and it teaches people what things are masculine, what things are feminine, and it's just chaotic in the world because this truth has been hidden, and English is a problematic language, and it's going to be dealt with at full length, B'ezrat Hashem, with the help of the infinite being. And so it means good is the things that you could nurse us. The wisdom, miyayin, from the finest intoxicating things in this world. The Torah is even more intoxicating. And not only that, but the Torah of Mashiach, B'ezrat Hashem. The sages transmit, Rabbi Zamir Cohen and Rabbi Kaplan and Rabbi Joel David Baxt, in the name of the Vilna Gaon, and others, are saying that the real Torah that Mashiach is going to teach the world is going to be more intoxicating than any of the wisdom, because it's going to be actual reality. Finally, the answers to all of these questions, like I was just watching the show, let's say Ancient Aliens or things like these concepts, but make sense of all of history and all of science and all of wisdom and all of everything and the perfect confluence of everything, and the Torah that's going to be revealed, the wisdom, the light of truth and guides to humanity is going to be unlike anything, hopefully we've experienced, glimpses of such wisdom and beauty in this world, but it's going to be that very good, if not so much greater. And so that's what this verse means cryptically, like may God as if kiss us, which is teach us the Torah and have this face-to-face relationship and have the direct symbols and not have to go through third parties and through any mediums and any people in between. We have to all just come back to the real Aleph-Bet and learn it and see it and pick it up for ourselves. And initially we started off, it's like a fire that you have to light the candle and then it lights up, and then it can then go and continue to light up everything else. And that's how the Torah Sheba'al-Peh is received, because humility is built into the system. We're humbled before those who came before us, the great giants on the shoulders, as we say, on who we stand. Stand on their shoulders. On the shoulders of giants, I think is like a book and a phrase. But that is the meaning, that God gave us the entire Torah. The Luchot, the script, the Mishnah, and the Talmud. And was speaking face to face and guiding the nation with a direct, caring relationship, just like a husband kisses his wife out of his great love, or just like a friendly kiss. Even in France, let's say they kiss on the two cheeks. In Middle Eastern countries, some on the hand, and the different customs and whatever it is. But dechabiv lan yatir, that God was favored to us from anything that anyone has to offer in this world. We need divinity. We want the divine experience, and all truth seekers want the divine experience. And that is exactly what Hashem provides. Okay? And so that was just one verse with Targum, with the meaning of the cryptic verse. What is even being spoken of? So we're going to pause the video here and then continue with the following verse, the very verse after that, and then one more after that. And that's going to be the one that introduces the real Aleph-Bet. And we will get into that as well. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. And let us know. Comments, questions, anything? Thank you. All the best.